A very good evening to you, and thank you so much for joining us tonight right here on Transforming Families. My name is Faith Kaulu, and I'm excited to have you on board today. Now, a quick look at statistics according to UNICEF. This is the United Nations Children's Fund. In Kenya, 23% of girls are married before their 18th birthday, and 4% of girls are married before the age of 15. Now, this statistics puts Kenya at the 20th position in having the highest absolute number of early and children marriages. And that is why today on Transforming Families, we are talking about early, child and forced marriages in the society. And I'm gladly joined by Reverend Edward Karanja. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much, Faith.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure to be in Transforming Families program.
Sure, thank you so much. Reverend Edward Karanja is a professional family and marriage therapist as well as an ordained minister with the Presbyterian Church of East Africa. On the very far end is the amazing Professor Catherine Gashuda. Asante sana for joining us today on Transforming Families.
Thank you, Faith. Always happy to do this.
Yeah. I am very glad and honored to have you on board. Professor Catherine is the director of the Kenya Institute of Business and Counseling Studies, as well as a family and marriage therapist, a psychologist, an author, and so much more. And it's always an honor to have you guys on board.
Thank you, Faith.
Now, to begin with, maybe even as we're talking about early and child marriage, most people are wondering, what is child marriage really? Because if I'm 17 and I feel like it is time for me to settle down and I am okay for settling down, is it the right thing to do? So let's begin by defining these terms that we are going to use today. What is early and child marriage?
When you're talking about early and child marriages, we are referring to those individuals who get married before their 18th birthday. And this means that they are not grown enough to be able to handle the challenges of marriage. And we have seen situations where even children get married when they are 13 years, depending on different cultures around the world. And especially in Kenya, we know communities that marry off their daughters when they are very, very young. And this classifies those individuals to being in a child marriage or an early marriage, because in terms of their age, they are still children because they are not grown, whether it is mentally, they are not grown enough to be able to handle the challenges of marriage, even physically, in terms of their physical development or even emotional development. They don't have the capacity to be able to handle the challenges and responsibilities that come with marriages and families.
Yeah. Wow, amazing. Reverend, I know we've talked about people using certain scriptures very shortly to justify actions and I'd say their deeds. Now, there's this scripture that says, if you cannot withhold the fire, then it's better to settle down. And here's a man who says, by the way, I like this girl and I cannot wait for her to turn 18. So let me marry her so that we do right before God.
Thank you very much, Faith. It's true, one can justify. You can read a verse or just have the verse to justify what you want to do. But even as the Bible says that if you cannot be able to withhold pleasure, in Corinthians, you cannot withstand your desires to have a woman in bed. If you're a man, then you better get married.
Yeah.
But the Bible doesn't say that you marry a child. No, the Bible says then you get married. Then you will describe and ask, then who is an adult in matters marriage? There are even people who have quoted and saying once you turn 12 years, biblically you are an adult, because even at that age Jesus was taken to the synagogue at the age of 12. But then the Bible also talks about obeying the laws of the land where you are living. So the child, it is that person who is not yet above the age of who an adult is in that particular society. And the Bible recognizes that. That's why even the Bible tells us to even respect those that are in authority. So in that land you are in, what are the rules and regulations they are in? Yes. So the Bible does not give anyone room to abuse anyone.
Anyone.
No, the Bible doesn't allow that. Yes.
Well, thank you so much for that.
Yes.
Now, each year, estimately around 12 million girls are married before the age of 18. And this is mostly driven by gender inequalities in some communities, poverty, literacy levels, early pregnancy, female genital mutilation, and traditional customs. Now, in Kenya, this is happening, and I had the pleasure to talk to Florence, who is the director of Destiny Children's Rescue Center, as well as some of the girls who were forced into early marriages. Let's listen in.
Nilikeketwa nilikuwa na miaka 10. Kwa jinsi kwa mila yetu wasichana wanafaa kukeketwa. Nilikeketwa, si kwa mimi nataka kukeketwa, but walinilazimisha. Wamesema kama huwezi keketwa huwezi kaa kwa hiyo boma, so walinilazimisha nikakeketwa. Ilikuwa ni uchungu sana juu kitu yenye hata hujaifanyiwa. Huyu mama mwenye anakukeketa anashika wembe, hiyo wembe hata labda amenyoa nayo watu, amekeketa na wasichana wengine. Unakeketwa, una bleed, anakukeketa, alafu saa anakuambia uamke. Saa umekuwa sasa mama, you can do anything. Kama ni kuolewa utaweza olewa.
And then my parents told me that you must undergo because it is our culture. So I have to accept it. I accepted it.
Mimi nimetairiwa nikiwa na 8 years. Wazazi wangu tu waliongea, akaita shosho. Shosho akakuja akalala nyumbani, akaamka kanitairi. Mimi hata sikuwa najua. Ameamka tu siku hiyo. Alikuwa anabeba tuembe, akanitairi, lakini siku hiyo nilidhika sana. Sikuwa najua, damu ilimwagika sana. Na huyu mama hata afai gloves, anatembea tu na wembe kutairi wasichana.
Nilifika darasa la 5, mahali yenye wazazi walikuja kunifanyia msafisho kutairi. Inachukua tu mwezi mmoja upone, alafu urudi hali yako ya kawaida ndio uende shule.
Inawakaja msichana akishatairiwa ataonekana sasa kama amekuwa mama, unaweza fanya chochote unaweza fanya, hata aupewi mawaidha. Sasa kama unataka kutembea na vijana, unatembea tu na vijana vile unataka.
Babangu akaanza kuongea na watu hapo wa jirani na hataki nisikie. Akaongea, wakanipeana kwa mzee. Vile wamenipeana kwa mzee, mimi nikaamka tu nikatoroka kwa chief. Sitaki niolewe na mzee mkubwa, bado nataka kusoma.
Huyo mzee mwenye alinipea hakuwa ananitekea vizuri. Nilikaa tu, bibi yake wa kwanza akatoroka akaniacha, nikabaki peke yangu. Nikakaa nikafumilia, nikasema hata na mimi siwezi baki kwa hii boma peke yangu. Nikarudi kutana kwetu, nikaenda kwa brother yangu. Nikakaa kwa brother yangu.
So they were forcing me to get married with an old man. I went to the head teacher of our school, and he took me to the chief. And then the chief tell Mom Florence to rescue me, and he accepted me.
Kaanza kupanga, akasema lazima nikupende. alianza kumwambia mama lazima nimpene, siku hizi hata sina ng'ombe. Nilifeel vibaya sana, lakini mimi nilitoroka. Mimi nimesikia nikatoroka.
We had gone to Kajiado for a mission, and then I realized that I'm seeing so many young girls with babies on their backs. So I asked a question, why aren't these girls going to school? And they are just made to take care of their siblings and the goats. Because I remember the first group I saw was of a few girls with babies on their back, with a jerrycan, 5-liter jerrycan on their hand and a stick, following goats and cats. So when I asked, I was told that they are their children. And I'm like, how? These are babies, how can they? So that's when now I got to interact, and I was now brought into the picture of what happened. And the same day, I came back with a girl who had run away because he was to be given out for marriage and to an old man. So she had run away so that she can be helped not to be married off by the parents. Yes.
You mentioned that the very first case you rescued was when you had gone for mission. Has your experience with rescuing kids from the Maasai community maybe put your life in danger at any one time where you felt threatened in visiting the area?
Not really, because when I need to visit, I must involve the administration. So they are the ones who will tell me whether it is safe to go, because we work towards reconciling these children with their families. So most of it in the initial stages is done by mainly the chiefs and the children's office. Yes, yeah.
Now you have the child safe at the rescue center. What do you do to her to ensure that she is experiencing healing? A bit of counseling, talk to them. How do you engage them?
Number one, they have to go through a lot of counseling, constant counseling, because these children have a lot of pain. Number one, they were taken through FGM against their will, because they are children between 8 and 10 years. So they were not given chance to know or to say whether they want to go through it. According to what they say, it's a very painful experience, and it gives them a lot of pain. And they feel like they have been violated, their lives have been violated as children. So they have a lot of bitterness towards their parents. And then now comes the issue of being given out for marriage. You're not being given out for marriage to a man of your choice. And they are still very young, 12, 13 years, 15. They are still very young girls. And they actually do not know, they are not prepared to know the responsibilities that they are going to be having in those families. So they have to go through a lot of counseling so that, number one, they can accept that they are mothers at that age. They can be talked to so that they can love their babies, because most of them have nothing, they don't want anything to do with those babies, especially those ones who actually were married off to old women, to men. They don't value those children. And you and I know this child will never get another mother. So we have to work with this girl until there is acceptance. First of all, they accept themselves, they accept what they have gone through, walk through forgiveness, which actually that you cannot say it is something that is going to be done the first, the second, or the third sitting. It's a process. Because sometimes you think you have gotten to a place, and then this child just says something and you realize we've not gotten anywhere. So there is a lot of counseling, and the first 3 months, I am the one who does it because I am a counselor. So the other times now I start engaging another counselor who will now, because you see now after 3 months we have a relationship. Yeah. Now I am the mother, I am the administrator, I am the disciplinarian. So there has to be somebody else now who do not have a relationship with this girl. And we have seen we have success stories that up to where we have gotten with them, they are able to smile, they are able to take care of their children, they are able to accept them, and they are walking a path towards forgiving their parents. Yeah. Because there are some you will tell them, like, I think we need to go and visit your parents, and they will tell you, we enda peke yako, mi uko sirudi. Walinifanyia. But the most and the greatest fear is that utanirudisha huko ndiende nikapeanwe. So we need to really work towards making sure that even when they go for the reconciliation process, we are sure that this relationship now has been built.
One may wonder why the reconciliation process with the parent, because this is a parent who meant harm, if I might put it that way. So why do you do that here?
Because by the end of it all, this child will never get another parent. And I am a believer, and I believe that parental blessings are very important. So, and again, forgiveness, if they don't forgive their parents, then I think we will give them everything else, and they will never be able to go back and fit in their society. Because by the end of it all, when this child is educated and is successful and everything, they will have to go back. Like, if I may give you an example, if probably I take a child through education, university, then apate mchumba, do you know I am not the rightful person to receive the dowry? Because I am not the parent. So we have to keep the relationship with the parent. They have to work. Actually, even the parents feel very disappointed in their own right. Kwa sababu nilikula ng'ombe za wenyewe, na wewe umezifanya nifanye nini? So they also have their own bitterness towards their children. And because it's a cultural thing, they don't see like they are violating the rights of these children. Kwa sababu ni kitu inafanyika katika jamii yao. So for me, I feel it's very important for these children to reconcile with their parents for blessings, and also that these children will be, the grandchildren will be able to enjoy the life with their grandparents. Yes.
That's amazing. Have you heard any stories that were not successful?
Yes, we have. We have had cases where girls are rescued, they come here and they feel, hii maisha, nafikiri sitaki, mimi nataka kurudi kwa Bwana. Yes, we have had that. And we've had instances where we give them permission to go and visit their families, and a girl comes back when she's pregnant. Yeah.
How do you handle that when it comes to that?
When it comes to that, now again we have to go back to the administration and to the parents, because I don't have that program of keeping them here when they are expectant. Okay. So depending on what the outcome is, if it is very hostile at home, we will put the girl in an institution where she will be able to be taken through the pregnancy until she gives birth. Then probably I can take them back. Yeah. Yes.
How can one support this place? They want to chip in to fundings and all that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we really need that support, because we depend on that. We depend on that for feeding the children, especially the young babies, the young girls. Yeah. We need diapers, we need food, we need rent for this place. This is a rental place. Mm-hmm. So if you want to if you want to donate or you want to give help, you can probably, if you allow me, I'll give my number.
Sure.
So that they can be able to reach me through 0720 240 330. I repeat again, 0720 240 330. We also have a pay bill number, 718 417, account Destiny. If you're able to, if you want to come and visit, especially after COVID is over, right now we are very limited on the visitors that are coming. Yeah. If you come, we will allow you to come, but you will not interact with the children. But in future, when this whole issue is done, we love visitors. You just have to call and know that whether that day we are busy, you come and interact with the children, show them love, and you will be blessed.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you for the amazing place and the safe space you have built for children. May God bless you.
Amen, amen. Thank you for having me. Sure. I really appreciate.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
So kindly support the Destiny Rescue Center, as well as you can contact or get in touch with Florence to see how you can pass by and drop a bell of unga or something that they really do need, especially during this time. Thank you all for keeping it tuned to Transforming Families. Now, that is evidence enough that despite the numerous laws against child and early marriages in Kenya, the practice is still very widespread. Transforming Families is taking a very short break. We'll be right back with the discussion. Definitely keep it right here.
Imagine of a world where you are fully informed on matters crime and criminal justice system and procedures.
Realizing a crime-free society is possible, but first, creating capacity to combat crime is key.
Every minute, crimes are committed worldwide, causing immense losses.
Professional Criminologists Association of Kenya and CAC TV takes the lead in building a crime-free society through credible information.
There is you and I to make this happen.
As PSAC Youth and Voice, we are ready to make this happen with your support.
With a team of experts in criminal justice system and investigative journalists, Crime Must Fall Show is now bigger and better. Besides talk shows, well-detailed investigative features on crime matters is our focus for the society. Only on CAC TV. PCAK, Crime Must Fall.
Next Monday on Rays of Hope.
What is healing?
But healing goes beyond. It is emotional, physical, spiritual. The whole of you can be affected and you need healing.
So when we are talking about being whole, we are talking about you being whole spiritually, socially, and in every aspect of life.
And a person who is truly healed is a person who is also resilient in life. Somebody who can face another problem, you know, not being stuck where they were in that, through that process of healing.
That's next Monday at 8 p.m. only on CAC TV.
Welcome back to Transforming Families, and thank you so much for keeping it right here. Today we are talking about early and child marriages in the country, and previously we have seen girls giving out their stories of how they were forced into early marriages despite the minimum legal age of marriage being 18 years old in the country. And this raises the question, Professor and Reverend, that cultural, I'd say, practice is one of the great hindrances to us being able to eradicate child marriage in the country. So how do you convince a parent who, to them, it's culturally right that my child is of age? Probably they've undergone FGM, as we have seen, especially in the Maasai community. Once a girl has undergone FGM, they are perfect and fresh for marriage. So this is a parent we are trying to educate and tell them, you know what, this is still wrong. How do we break it down to them? Yeah.
When it comes to talking to family, and that's why we talk about transforming families, and
Sure.
I and Prof, our specialty is family therapy. When a family wants to take their children to early marriage, a parent has gone through FGM themselves, they got married very young, at the age of 13, 14, 15. They will not be able to understand why their daughter, who is 17, even older than how they were when they got married, cannot get married because some laws there somewhere the government says 18 years.
Yeah.
Yet for a parent, when they look at a girl, she physically looks okay, you know, formed and ready for marriage. I always believe in information. And the Bible says in the book of Joel, my people perish for lack of knowledge. And I always believe knowledge is power. Information is power. If you want to transform people, you got to give them information. The moment they have information, they dialogue, they internalize the information, they dialogue with the information, they will be able to make informed choices out of the information you have given them at that moment. So I believe information is power. To empower these communities, and it's just not Maasai. When you look into the research, you'll find areas of Samburu, interior Maasai land, parts of Kwale, parts of Kilifi, those places you find, those early child marriages taking place. If you also look into the levels of education in those areas, you'll find it's lower. It is not that early child marriages only happened in those communities. Even the communities that look very much exposed, like the Kikuyus, among the Kikuyus, the Luos, they used to be there. But the moment those people got educated, got informed, and they knew something different from just herding cows and going to the rivers, now they make better choices. The girls are more empowered in those communities. So I would say education is key to talking to those parents so that they can be able to know. You don't just go to them and condemn them. First of all, educate them, make them understand the formative stages of a child. At what stage can the child be able to make an informed choice? Yes.
Wow, amazing. I really like the fact that you're touching on, if they're informed, they're able to make better choices.
Yes, they will.
Now, Professor, let's look at what will drive a parent to give out a child for early marriage other than FGM. As our clip was focusing more on girls who've undergone FGM. But in some communities where there's early marriage, they don't really practice FGM. But you'd find that the parent will still give away the child for early marriage.
Yeah. Parents will do that, Faith, because they lack knowledge, as Lefred has said, and therefore they are not able to see the effects of getting a child into early marriages, and that you're not only destroying the child, but you're also destroying their growth, their development. You're also destroying the children who will come from them. Because when children are parented by disempowered parents, or parents who do not have the skills of parenting in a healthy way, those children again are going to be affected. And therefore what happens is that we have cycles of poverty that are that come because of how we introduce these children into the marriage when they are very young. So again, poverty comes in when parents are going through lack or they are impoverished. There is a way in which they will give out their children to marriage because they would want some money to be brought to them through bride price for them to be able to have life continuity. So you can see they are making their decisions based on lack and limitation, but not based on the needs of a child to grow and develop and be able to pick up certain tasks like marriage when they are of age to be able to handle that marriage. So there are other situations that happen within family that make parents decide that it is okay for our child to get married at this point. The other factor that you see a lot are parents who do not understand themselves. They do not understand even human development. They do not understand how to parent adequately. And so because of that, they think they have completed the parenting once a child has attained like 13 years. And they can see this is a child who can go to the river, or this is a child who can carry out a lot of tasks, then this particular individual is declared to be mature. Like when we look at an adolescent who is big in the body, is having breasts, you know, you look at them and they are looking, they are like they are adults. But what we do not appreciate is that they still have a length to go for them to be prepared or to be ready for marriage. But then the parents, you look at them just by looking at the physical body and say, you are ready for marriage. You can now go and get married. So we see people lacking awareness. and people lacking knowledge that this has an effect to the child when a child is married off when they are very young.
Yeah, and which also brings it down to the lack of information,
Yes.
as well as, I'd say, portray it as a selfish action, because you've mentioned that the parent does not consider, is my child ready? Is my
Yes.
child psychologically ready for marriage?
Mhm.
Or am I just looking at the number of cows that I'll get? Am I just looking at her physical development and appearance?
Mhm.
Yeah, and I really love that. Thank you so much for that, Professor.
And the selfishness
Mhm.
part.
Sure.
The selfishness part of the parent, that you're only looking into what you gain.
Yeah.
The number of cows, as Professor is saying, that you're going to get,
Mhm.
and not oblivious of the danger you have put this child into,
Yeah.
your own daughter. What will become of them tomorrow, 10 years from now, 30 years from
Mhm.
now? But since, because you're so selfish, you don't care about other people's feelings, and selfishness is so key in some of those painful decisions that people take through others too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, thank you. Let's look at how early and forced child marriages affect the child. Yeah.
They're affected in many ways, Faith. Number one, the child is denied an opportunity to be able to continue with their own education. Life tasks that can make this child to be able to become independent and to grow and develop, like education, the child is not going to attain that, because now the child has to go into the marriage and start raising the children,
Yeah.
and not continue with the schooling and other things that the child would need to continue with. The other thing is that this child can be sexually molested within marriage. Because you see, you have not agreed or consented you would want to get married.
Yeah.
And therefore, most of those children who get married when they are very young, they continue to be sexually molested. Because again, the people who are marrying them are much older than them. And so there is power disparity here. She has to consent. She has to agree to anything that is happening, including that abuse that is continuous throughout her life within marriage. And we have seen for such kind of people, they develop mental health illnesses, that someone is getting depression, they're married, they don't now have an ability to parent their own children, because them they are incapacitated, they do not know how to take care of themselves, so they cannot take care of those others within the household. Again, this kind of an individual has a very low self-esteem. They are comparing themselves with others that they see within the neighborhood or within the larger society, and they can see those ones, they have proceeded on with their own education, and they can remember, we used to be with that one in standard 7 or in standard 8, and that one now is a CS education, or that one is an MCA, and I was left behind. They always compare themselves negatively with other people, because then they feel that they are retrogressing instead of developing and becoming like other people.
You'd like to add something?
Yes, I just wanted to add what Professor said. Because the moment one gets married early, you got to realize that they have a developmental challenge. Because the way we are created, there is what we are at some point in age. Like from 0 to 7 is when the child starts, develops the trust in a parent. When the child is a teenager and they get married at 13, between 13 and 18, a teenager is trying to find themselves. And that's when most teenagers become even rebellious. Because they are trying to find who they are.
Yeah.
The opinion of the friends are greater than the opinion of the parents. Now, when this child is trying to find themselves, you get hold of her, and then you marry them off. This is a stage whereby the children are also very rebellious. Even in high school, they have 15 years, they are 14 years, and they are rebellious. Now you have grabbed her, you have curtailed her, you have put her in her father's house, who is not now the father, is the husband. So this child is not able to express their opinion. Yet they are at a stage in life where they want to to say what they want to say. They want to express their opinion. Those of us that have teenagers or had teenagers in the house, you know, that's the stage whereby you call a teenager 5 times, they are not responding.
Yeah.
Unaitana karaoke haitiki. Then unstukia amechomoka mlango ya bedroom nini. Now this is the somebody that you want to make them somebody's wife. So the husband will interpret it as a rebellion. So even the physical abuse, they will get abused because the husband thinks this girl is not respectful to me.
Sure.
Yet she's in a teenage stage and she needs to go through the teenage stage. So she may get abused, and like Prof says, now that child's self-esteem gets crushed. She will do things not with consenting, but because she has been authorized. If it is sex, it's like she will not even know what it is to experience good sex, fulfilling sex, because to them it's a duty. Cooking is a duty. Sex is a duty. When this man says ruka and aruka, sit down, she sits down. You have destroyed that child.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you become like a robot. You do what you're instructed to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can't make a decision on your own. That's why even when like the husband says we are now moving from point A to point B, don't ask why. You only tie your little belongings and you start following him and you go. It is very dangerous to the child. Yes.
Well, Prof, is there hope for healing for girls who've undergone this? Maybe they were rescued from the marriage, or even the planning was there, you were almost wedded off and you were rescued. Of course, there's a certain damage that has been done. You feel, Yani, my parents can give me away without considering I want to continue with my studies. And for people who have already been in the marriage, they've been abused, probably sexually violated. Is there hope that they will heal and recover?
Yeah, there is. That there is rebuilding that can happen in them. Human beings have a lot of resources within them to be able to recreate themselves, even when they have been damaged and even when they have been crushed, like the way Lefred has put it.
Yeah.
Because what are they needing? Number one, they are needing to heal. They are needing to heal from the abuse that they have been taken through. Because just like we said in the beginning, that this is a human rights violation, that a child has a right to education, a right to get their own career, a right to marry at the age that they want to marry, and a right to marry a person that they have chosen to marry to. But all those rights have been thwarted, and they have been put in a situation where they have to receive that which is imposed on them. So they need now to start having their power back, because their power had been taken away from them, but they need now to reclaim it. And sometimes people reclaim it very violently. Initially, that's what happens as they start to heal, because they are feeling, how would I have been robbed my power, my integrity, my right to live a life the way I would have wanted to live my life. Yes, they will heal. They will be able to forgive, even forgive their parents and forgive all the others who are involved in that process, because there are those that are from the extended family that took the dowry, you know. So there are many more people, even aunties and uncles, that you would have thought they would have fought for me, but they never fought for me. So there are so many people who have angered this particular young person, and therefore she needs to forgive. She needs to reclaim that which was taken away from them. And apart from that, now we can come now to empowerment. We are having an education system that is very good for young people, the competency-based education training, and like their clarion call, leaving no one behind. Even the ones that were married off when they were very young, they shouldn't be left behind. They can be taken to a vocational training center or even in a technical training center and gain skills. And the goodness with that kind of an education system, even if you didn't do your standard 8 exam, you can start from where you stopped. And you gain skills, and you can go and do a PhD with that kind of an education system that allows that you can start with simple skills, and then you continue developing yourself until you attain your PhD. So it is good for the young people who were denied this opportunity, either to attain education or to attain skills for life, to do something that can be giving you food on the table, that you can go back to school, whether you want to go to college or you want to continue with your schooling, you can be able to do that. But it's important for you to know that you can do that only when you have healed.
Yeah. Wow, amazing. Even
yes.
Okay.
I mean, yes, I wanted to add that faith.
Okay, briefly.
There is hope for everyone. There is hope. You cannot give up on yourself. Like we said, information is power. Some of those people have given up because they do not know that there is hope for them. And I like the way it has been put here by Prof, that even those that are married off, they have not been rescued. They are still in those marriages, and they have chosen to stay there because they think getting out is too late, because maybe they have 2, 3, 4 children. So even getting out of the marriages, it will be more complicating than now staying. They still can go to a vocational training, get something for themselves, not necessarily to be employed. Even if they are farming, to farm in a new way. You know, something that will be fulfilling, something that they will do and look at it and their life is more fruitful. Is it the cows I am herding? How can I herd these cows in a way they will be more productive to me than they are? So that way, they will not feel like their life got wasted. Yes, so there is life, not necessarily to be rescued. For those that have been rescued, many of them are even in a bigger challenge than the ones not rescued. Because you have been rescued, maybe you already have one child, or you are rescued when you already are pregnant. The community you're going back to looks at you as a second-hand person because of what you have already gone through in life. The community where you have been married or your own family looks at you as rebellious, because how can we take you to that man, then you run away? So there is hope. That's why we here in Transforming Families say there is therapy. Come for therapy, individual therapy, and you can heal. There is hope for everyone. God never gives up on anyone.
Thank you for that. And I'd like to mention that even for people who are now adults, maybe into their late 40s or 30s, and they were forced while early, and they still bear the pain and anger of, why did my parent do this? Maybe this is where I would have been, like you mentioned. You see your schoolmate on the television and who's a CS and say, I could have been a CS probably if my parents didn't give me out. There's still hope for you, and healing that should happen. So just seek therapy and find out ways. Go for vocational training, just as Professor has put it. And thank you so much for bringing that up. Now, maybe lastly, let's look on how we can discourage and ensure that the numbers reduce right here in the country. How we can discourage child marriages, especially I'd like us to address this from the traditional point of view as well as any other aspects.
Maybe to begin with, I will again for me go to education. Because I grew up in a village, real village, a small village called Kipsambach in Kamoy, Kapcherop subdivision, Chibiemit division. Those are names you may have not heard. In Elgeyo Marakwet County. You know, where I grew up is in the border of Elgeyo Forest, or Elgeyo Marakwet County and Pokot County, just a forest in between. And the people who got themselves transformed are the people who went to school. And whose learning did not end in the primary school. They went to high school and went beyond high school to colleges. Those are people whose lives got transformed. So say, one of the best ways to discourage this early childhood is talking about it. We talk about it here on television, we talk it on radios, we talk it in churches, we talk against it everywhere. The moment people get informed and we say the reasons as to why it is not good for the child getting married, the more we talk about against it, the more people start getting awareness that is not the way to go. Talk about it, then educate people. If we can ensure every child goes to school, and after primary school, there is 100% transition to high school. And that's one of the things I loved about when the government said, you know, it's 100% transition to high school.
Okay.
You'd rather have every child going to high school, even if that high school they do not get as good grades. It is better than a dropout. Go to high school, because someone in high school one, already by the time you complete high school, you're either 17, 18, going to 19.
Yeah.
So that's an advantage as well. So education and then awareness is important.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Prof.
Yeah, it requires community effort. I'm the chair of Community Anti-Drugs Coalitions of Kenya, and we have 8 coalitions within the country. And what we do is that we set up coalitions within sub-counties, and we involve people from different sectors, whether it's education or law enforcement or media or women or youth, to fight against drug abuse. And that has taught me that if you want to remove a public health problem, because FGM is a public health problem, and even marrying off children when they are very young is a public health problem, because we are saying they are not ready even physically to give birth. The only way that you can be able to do that is to get communities to understand and involve all the sectors within community, so that they can now fight against an issue like FGM or even marrying off young girls, all of them together, meaning the teachers are in it, the media is in it within that community, the law enforcement, the administrators are in it, the business community is in it, and all of us are saying we need to bring this to an end. How do we do that? By putting up structures, whether those structures are in our churches, all the churches that we have, because if we say, like in the Presbyterian Church, the women, the Women's Guild, they are going to be making sure wherever they are going to be fighting against early marriages of the girls. And the PCMF is doing the same. We can fight now within our churches, that we have structures and we have focus that is making us to be able to deal with this phenomenon, so that it can come down, the preference can continually come down. And so from the central government to our county governments, to our institutions and our communities, all of us need to move in the same direction. Efforts to reducing early marriages of our children.
Oh, thank you so much for today, guys. It has been an informative discussion, and I am excited because I believe that this video is going to impact and to bring a change in the community, and that the numbers are actually going to reduce, because that is what we are all about here, transforming families, transforming the society. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
God bless you too.
And just as Professor has said, it requires community effort. You might be wondering how. Share this video once you come across it to a relative, to a friend, or to someone who will be able to share it to the next person, so that we are able to reach a wider audience, because this is the only way that we are able to stop early and child marriage. The good news is Kenya is committed to eliminate child early marriages by 2030. And this is only possible if we all come together. Thank you so much for joining me and us today right here on Transforming Families. God bless you. Do not forget to share this video and support #End Early and Forced Child Marriages. My name is Faith Kaulu. Till next time, God bless you.
Amen.